So in this video, I'm going to discuss about illegal beans and ignore beans. So let us begin. So first, I will go through ignore beans, and just to write or mention a ignore bean, you have to use the keyword ignore beans instead of using the regular beans keyword. So you just have to write ignore underscore beans, and now you can just name your beans. For this example, I will name it B8. And before moving forward, I just want to let you know that this is same as the previous example used in my previous videos, and I am writing this functional coverage for a very simple buffer design in which both inputs and outputs are of 7 bits each. And here you can see that I have already written lots of other beans for the signal A, and these are the sequence and transition beans. This one are the repetition beans, and this one are the go to repetition bean, then non-consecutive repetition bean, and finally we will go through illegal beans and the ignored beans. So I have already provided a set of stimulus to satisfy the coverage, and I also have a regression check using this for loop right here, which covers all the possible 128 values for the signal A. So for this ignore beans, I will just mention any any signal, any transition. So let's say this ignore bean will detect if there's a transition from uh, 111 to 122. So what this will do, it will this bin will check for this particular transition. So if transition happens, this bin will get hit, and if the transition does not happen, this bin will not, of course, get any hit, but it will not affect the overall coverage in any way. So the meaning behind the ignore beans is that the specified transition or any value will not have any effect inside the I mean towards the overall coverage, so it will be ignored. So let's just go ahead and uh, run the simulation. And since as you can see it right here that in our stimulus section we didn't provide any specific simulation, any specific stimulus in which the value of A is getting transitioned from 111 to 122. So even though this bin is not getting any hit, it will not affect the coverage. So I will just save the code and I will run it. Let's run the coverage report. So, uh, so the ignored bean B8 is not getting any hit. Still, it is not affecting the overall coverage or the total coverage in any way. the total coverage is still 100%. So it is useful for some cases in which for a particular signal you want to ignore some range or some specific transition of values for that signal. So let's find out what will happen if we mention the same transition of B1 inside the ignore beans. So how will this cover group react, and how will it affect the overall percentage, and what will happen? So just to be clear, any ignore beans, if it has a same value compare, I mean that to of a regular bean, it will take precedence over any regular bean. So suppose if I just copy this, let's say it is also transitioning from 1 to 5. Since we have a regular bean which is also focusing on the transition of value 1 to 5, and ignore bean also focuses on the transition from 1 to 5, the ignore bean will take precedence over the regular one. So this regular bean will get ignored. It will not have any effect. So let's find out. What I will do, I will just comment this. So by commenting this, we are making it sure that the transition is not happening, and this win should not get any hit. But even though it will not get any hit, it will not affect the total coverage in any way. So I will just save the code and I will compile and run the simulation. So as you can see it right here, that it is mentioned that after dropping the illegal or ignore or invalid transitions, the transition list associated with the bean B1 in the cover point CP1, which is the handle of our cover group of coverage instance, has converged to an empty list. The bean will be taken out of the coverage calculation. So the simulator is clearly mentioning that it will not have any effect for the total coverage. So let's just go ahead and run the coverage report. As you can see it right here, that we are getting 100% coverage, even though uh, I am not providing any stimulus or the respective transition which is required for the bean B1, because it is because of the ignore beans it is getting ignored, and it will not contribute towards the total coverage of this cover group. So you can see it right here that uh, there is a mention of the ignore bean B8, but there is no mention of the bean B1. It is not getting considered. So it is just simple that it will take precedence over bin B1. If you mention the same transition or same value inside both the ignore beans and the regular one, which is B1 in our case. So let's move on with our next category. which is illegal beans. So you just have to write illegal underscore beans, and I will name this particular bean to be bean9, and I will give some just regular transition. Let's say 23 transitions to 24, not 24. Let's say 29. So what will happen since I have mentioned that particular transition inside the illegal beans? So if this transition occurs, the simulation or the simulator will show the runtime error, and it is because it noticed that transition which is supposed to be illegal. So what I will do, I will intentionally provide that particular stimulus of 23 getting transition to 29 in the next time slot. So let's do it. So I will give it 23. Then it is getting transition to 25. Sorry, I think it's 29, right? Yeah, it's 29. So if this transition occurs, uh, our simulation should show a runtime error. So let's save the code and do the compilation and simulation. So you can see it right here that we are getting error, and it says that illegal bean was hit at value is equals to 29, which we provided using our test bench, and it is written right here the bin counter for the illegal beans, and this is 1. And you can also observe it right here that inside the coverage report our illegal bean is getting a hit, which is not supposed to happen if you have mentioned some kind of value inside illegal bean and illegal bean. So here, so since it is getting covered, there will be a runtime error. So what happens if you have the same transition that is mentioned inside the regular bean B1 and the illegal bean uh, B8 and the ignore bean illegal bean B9 and the ignore bean B8? So which out of these three will get precedence over each other? Let's find out. So what I will do, I will just mention this to transition from 1 to 5, and I will remove the comment so that actual transition does occur. So right now we have the same transition of 1 to 5 for each three of them. So let's find out. So let's see. So as you can see it right there that we are getting an error. So mm, mm, so ignore bean is not getting any hit. So it you can clearly see here that the illegal bean B9 is taking precedence over the ignore bean B8, and the ignore bean B8 is taking precedence over the regular bean. So when the same transition is specified, the illegal bean will take precedence over the ignore bean and it will take precedence over the regular one. So that's all for ignore beans and illegal beans. I hope you find this video useful. Please stay tuned for more and thank you so much.